What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Some news this morning that kind of has to do with the Jets. Apparently, Woody Johnson is in talks to purchase a European soccer team. So we're going to talk about how that could potentially impact the Jets. So according to reports from ESPN, Woody Johnson is in talks to purchase Crystal Palace, which is a European soccer team. I'm not a soccer guy, so I can't really tell you too much about Crystal Palace, if they're any good or anything like that. But this isn't Woody Johnson's first attempt to buy a soccer team. He tried to buy Chelsea in 2022, so not that long ago. And he does obviously have ties to, England and specifically London, as he served as the UK ambassador from 2017 to 2021 during the first Donald Trump term. Obviously, when reading this news, my first thought, and everyone who's tuning in here's first thought should be, is, okay, how does this impact the Jets? And I think there could be a positive spin and a negative spin. We'll start negative and then go positive. Let's end on the positive note rather than ending on the sour note. There's two things that jump out to me that I think, if this were to happen, why you could spin it as negative. The first would be that I think they would play in London every single year. Now, for the many London and UK Jet fans, they get to see their team, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm against them being a part of this fan base. That's not how I feel at all. I think it's great that there are so many international fans of this football team. What I don't love, and I'm not a season ticket holder, but I don't think it's right or fair to the season ticket holders for them to lose a game essentially every year. This year they're losing one. Last year they weren't the home team, so I guess technically they didn't lose one, but I would imagine that they play in London every year, kind of like how Jacksonville does, and that counts as one of their home games. So you're at a minimum playing 7 or 8 games at home rather than the 8 or 9 games that you could be playing at home. I don't love the travel. It kind of just throws a wrench in everything. Going out there to London and then having to come back. And sometimes they play the next week. Other times they take the bye. And if they take the bye, that means you have an early bye. And I just think it would mean that the Jets would be playing over in London and in the UK every single year. Also, you just know there's going to be tons of rumors of a relocation there. There already has been, with Woody Johnson being the owner, rumors of the Jets relocating to London at some point. I do think there is eventually going to be a team in London, and I don't want it to be the New York Jets. The Jaguars are a team that's been rumored to be eventually move over there with their owner, who obviously has a lot of ties over there. He also is a owner of a soccer team, so that's another comparison that you can make, is because the Jaguars owner would be like Woody Johnson, because they have both an NFL franchise and a European soccer franchise. I just wouldn't want to deal with, every year, are the Jets going to be the team that moves out to London and they'll be Europe's first team, this and that. Like, I don't want to deal with that. Now, on the positive side, if this were to happen, would this mean that Woody Johnson would be too preoccupied with his new toy over in Europe, in London, that he would just let Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn do their thing? I think that you can make the case that would happen, especially at the beginning, where he'd have to get that off the ground. Not that they're not an already established team, they are, but as a new owner, you want to be very involved in things. Hard to do that from overseas. So I would think that he would be over there, and then maybe finally just letting this be the Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji show. We've said for a long time that Woody Johnson just needs to not be so involved in the hands-on day-to-day. As the owner, it's important for him to hire the right people and be a decision maker in that department. But the day-to-day operations of the football team and, sharing input on what the guys should be doing is not how an owner should be operating. I just don't think it works that way. Look at the Dallas Cowboys over the last 30 years. The Jets are another good example of an owner that meddles. Dolan was a good example. He's kind of stopped, and what do you know? The Knicks have had some success. So I'm hoping that Woody Johnson would follow suit. I don't know if he would just flat out sell the Jets. I think it's something that, he'd be the owner of both, but maybe that could be another positive spin for you, is, maybe he would just look to move on from the New York Jets. And I guess that's possible, but I don't think it's crazy likely. Again, I think the more likely positive we're going to get is that he's not as hands-on on the day-to-day with the Jets, and that allows the football people to do their jobs. So that'll do it for me in this one, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.